Welcome to Crafty Hints. I'm Chantel and I'm excited to have you here today. Today we're going to do some outdoor lighting features. So I started with these two jars and used a Krylon Sea Glass spray. And you can do this as light as you want. I probably could have stopped there, but I added another coat. And now I used one of those solar lights. And to put this on, I just pulled the little clear part off and you unscrew the stake. But all you need is this part for now. I grabbed this double stick foam tape at the Dollar Tree. I was really looking for just the solid tape, but they didn't have any. So I went with this, which is just fine. It's going to give you a little bit of ease to try and figure out exactly how many you need for your lid. And then once you've got that set, you'll just use some duct tape. That'll help finish securing it, and it'll also help make it a little bit more waterproof. This is one of the things that you asked me about, lighting or decor for your outdoor patio or deck. So this is one fun one my sister has done in the past, and so have I. So I thought I would put this together. I did a total of 3 of these, and it was for a family event. So these do go over to my sister's, and you'll be able to see that. But it's pretty simple. It's just getting it fit. You can buy other solar lights that are a little bit bigger. I believe the ones at Walmart are a little bit bigger, and I do use a little bit of the duct tape though, just to cover the edges, help secure it in there, etc. That also helps seal it from water getting in there. So just getting that around that tape, and then I just kind of pushed it off the edge just a little bit with my fingernail and then popped in the cap. I'm using a little bit of Gorilla Glue, and then I will also use a little bit of hot glue. That helps secure it for the long term, but it will help it stick more quickly right away. Now, as you can see, that solar light is shining because it's upside down. So they work really nicely. And then I just took out any extra there so that it will be able to. One thing you want to make sure to do is not do too much glue. I'm just doing a couple little dots in there. You don't want to put too much glue or you won't be able to twist your jar shut. So I'm putting just tiny little tacky bits in there. Then I also kind of went in and took that skewer and took out any extra. Now I'm just going to twist this back on here. Pretty simple. And now here's how I'm going to hang it. You take this string and then you're going to make a loop and give it one twist with the knot at the top. Now I'm showing you this. Normally I will just put the jar there when I do that, but you wouldn't be able to see because of the jar. Now pull it over. Now take your 2 little pieces, put it on top. Now grab your original big loop again, and there you are. How handy is that? I didn't do it super fast because I wanted you to be able to catch on, but I think that works wonderful. Look at that. I just grabbed one of the flag or shepherd's hooks from the Dollar Tree, and it will hold the lantern for our family gathering. I also put just a few of those pebbles, those glass pebbles, at the bottom to help it shimmer a little bit more. So pretty. All right, if you haven't viewed my channel before, here's some of my latest videos. And then down below is some of my older videos. Take a look if you're enjoying this. Subscribe and give me the thumbs up. But I would love to have you as part of my friends and family. Let's get to DIY 2. This was a pickle jar. And I took some of that white nautical rope and I'm adhering it right at that bump out. I'm not securing it all the way up at that rim. And then I'm cutting this at a slant. It holds together better if you do it that way. And then I put a little bit of glue because there's all those individual little strings in there. And just make sure to get that all set, and then I'll give it a little bit of glue. And you want to just pull this and stretch it just a little bit. 1, because it's waste not, want not. 2, because it just makes it nice and secure there and tight. And now I'll put another one right across from it. Super simple. We're going to do exactly what we did on the other side. And I decided to do 4 of these total. Now remember, with this sea glass spray, you could just finely mist that so it's just a light blue. You can make it this darker blue. I knew this was one of my sister's favorite colors, so I chose this one and went just a little bit darker. So here I am doing the 3rd one there, and where that nautical rope just starts to fray at the top, that's where I leave it up above at the rim so that I can trim that later. Okay, all 4 are on, and now I'm just securing the end of this rope. And I'm going to wrap that around the top. Oh, actually, I'm going to make my handle. I'm making a knot. Now, you probably don't want to carry this around much by it. I did pick it up and it was pretty secure, but I wouldn't suggest using this all the time as a handle. Okay, now I'm going to make another knot on the other side. And that will help give it a nice finished look. So again, I'll cut it right at an angle where that little ridge is. Glue that, and it holds it nicely. All right, now I'm going to go in between 2 of the ropes on each side, and that'll give me a cute little faux handle for our lantern. Well, there's some extras at the end, but I did a total of 3 DIYs here. And then I have some other suggestions of some super simple extra lanterns that you don't have to do much with, but I'll show you those. It's ones that I just, kind of put on the tables. Okay, so I kind of fastened that down, made them nice and flat, trimmed off all the extras. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 pieces of rope and just feed around this rim. You'll see where my handles are. I go right up to the edge of it, press on it, wrap it around, make it nice and tight, and then I'll give it a little bit of glue to hold it in place right around that handle, so that helps make it extra secure. And then what I'll do to just make it not as noticeable, I'm going to take these little, I don't know, I keep calling them ripples. What would you call them? But I intertwine them just a bit, and then it isn't quite as noticeable. So if I take a little bit from the other one and then I twist it with the other side, so you have a little bit of each side, and they just twist in nicely, and then I just tuck some of the extra underneath. And I did that with 2 pieces. I would probably suggest doing it all on one side, so maybe you have a back side. It isn't terrible, but here it is just out in the sunlight. I put some of the clear pebbles down at the bottom of this one also. And this one I just tossed in the solar light. I think it's pretty. It was so illuminated. You could put a couple in here if you wanted to. All right, let's get to DIY 3. I took this seahorse sign from the Dollar Tree, and then I got a square dowel from a hardware store. And now I'm going to turn this into a tray. If you go watch my other seaside nautical theme, I used the top of that for something else. And so see what I made with that. All right, here we go. A little bit of glue. And that's all I used is Gorilla wood glue. And it held this together amazingly well. Woods, when they're together, it creates that chemical bond. And it worked really nicely. So remember, measure twice, cut once. And so measured each side, and you're going to make it as long as you want, and then measure in between the two. I kind of make sure that I get them all lined up before I glue the other side down. That way it doesn't end up all wonky. Okay, I'm going to give that, I had a little bit of glue there, but it wasn't quite enough. So just give it a little bit more. And then I'm just clamping them down. So that's what I did all the way around. Wait till you have that wiggle room. Now I'm using a little bit of elephant in with some water. I believe that was elephant. And I'm just going to give this some wood tint, kind of whitewashing it or gray washing it, so to speak. And so just mixing it until it looked about right to me. So do it till your eye is a little happy. And super simple. This is just going to make it look a little bit aged, so it isn't this bright brand new tray. And now I'm going to give it a little bit of white. Just wanted this to look like it's been out and a little weathered. Once it's dry, it turns so pretty. Because that wood is gonna suck up, you know, some more of that gray just a bit. It was just about dry. But if it's too dark for you, take a wet wipe or a washcloth and rub a little bit more of it off. But I just kind of rub this in with a wet wipe. And just adding a little bit more white until you're happy. Now, if you haven't done it yet, reach up and hit that thumbs up if you're enjoying it, and subscribe and hit the bell so that you'll be notified when I upload new videos. I will often do collabs with other YouTubers. That way you get to see a couple of ideas. Isn't that pretty? I am so happy with it. Okay, I'm gonna grab some of these little wood squares, and I just did the same thing. Gave it a wash, let it dry, add a little bit of the white. Now here's some wood glue. Just gonna press that on there. And I did that on all four corners. Now these are the little Hui yogurt cups, and I did the same thing, just gave them a spray. You may have seen them if you watched that other video when I was talking about that seahorse. Now this is white sand that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I wanted to show you, you can use a tea light, you can use the battery operated lights. I grabbed some citronella candles, little citronella candle tea lights from Walmart for our party, and those worked really well. Now, if you don't know, and I'm going to show you with some of them floating, so just letting you know, you can make a floating candle by popping your tea light out of the container, whether it's plastic or metal, just pop it out of there. Sometimes the wicks are adhered to the bottom. If not, just use your lighter and heat it, the bottom of it just a little bit, and that'll adhere it, and then you've got a floating candle. Yes, crafty hint. Okay, now I've got some of the sea glass from the Dollar Tree as well, and I think it looks so pretty. This one might be my favorite. Gosh, I don't know. I really enjoyed it, and they were, you know, just a nice added decoration to our party. And there's with just nothing. I just put them in there without the sand. So here it is on the table. This one I did use a tea light. This one is one of those jars from the Dollar Tree. I just put some of the blue pebbles in there and put a tea light on top. Had a few of those scattered around. Those are those citronella tea lights. Now I use these little mermaid jars and hung them from Shepard's hooks also. And I put water in there and some of the pebbles. The water, just make sure your tea light, this one wasn't perfectly flat and it started, you know, it blacked up the rim a little bit. So do make sure you get it in the center. Okay, thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. Share this with a friend if you think that they'd enjoy that. I'd appreciate it. Here's a couple more videos you might also enjoy.